Level 1. The cracked one. You want everything. You want it now. You don't even have words for what everything is yet, but the want is already there. Loud and wet and total. Burning in a body that weighs less than 2 ounces. You are 1 day old. The nest is 18 inches across. Woven wire, cigarette cellophane, 1 strip of blue plastic bag, and a matted ring of someone's lost hair. It sits on the 4th-floor fire escape of a brick apartment building on a street that never goes quiet. Rain hits the iron grating below you in sheets. Car horns, a dog somewhere, a bottle breaking on concrete 40 feet down. Your skin is mostly bare. You have no feathers yet. You have a beak and a gut and a sound that comes out of you every time the cold touches your back, which is always. Your eyes open on day 5. The first thing you see is not your mother. It is not the sky. It is your sibling, 3 days older, twice your size. A dark and solid wall of early feathers. And that sibling is pressing a shoulder into your ribs and pushing you toward the edge of the nest. Not out of cruelty, out of hunger, out of the simple math of survival that you don't understand yet, but your body already knows. You dig in, tiny pink toes gripping woven wire. You don't move. You hold. Your mother lands 6 seconds later. Her wingspan blocks the gray sky completely. She leans down, and her beak opens, and something warm drops into your throat. A piece of something soft, probably earthworm, probably 2 inches long, and for 3 full seconds, nothing else exists. Not the cold, not the sibling, not the drop. Then she's gone, back into the gray. And your sibling leans again. This is the whole world. This 18-inch ring of wire and plastic on the 4th floor. This 40-foot drop below. This competition you didn't choose. You'll eat roughly every 40 minutes if you're loud enough. If you're not loud enough, you won't. So you're loud. You don't know yet that loud is just the beginning. You don't know there are 100 birds on this block alone, and a parliament above them, and laws older than this building, older than this city, older than the language of any creature watching from the street below. You think you know what you're signing up for. You don't. Level 2. The fledgling. You are 22 days old. You have feathers now, most of them. A ragged line of pin shafts still runs down your left wing like a half-finished seam. You weigh 3 ounces. The nest feels smaller than it did a week ago because you are bigger, and because your sibling left 4 days ago, and the empty space is not comfort, but a kind of pressure, a silent instruction. The fire escape railing is 6 inches from the nest edge. You've been standing on it for 2 mornings, testing. Gripping. Leaning out over the alley just far enough to feel the air move against your face, then pulling back. The drop below is 40 feet of nothing, and then wet asphalt, and then a dumpster lid behind the Vietnamese restaurant on 4th Street. You can smell the kitchen exhaust from up here, garlic, fryer oil, something sweet and fermented, rising warm through the cold air in a column you don't have a word for yet. Just warm. Just toward. On the 3rd morning, you don't pull back. You don't decide to fly. You just stopping yourself. 11 feet, across the alley. Your wings open and catch nothing. Then something. Then too much. And you are not gliding. You are barely controlled falling. And the dumpster lid comes up fast, and you hit it with your chest and both feet at once, and the metal rings out like a flat bell, and you slide 3 inches and stop. You sit there, hard going, beak open. The alley has depth in it now. It has wind. The brick walls on both sides are close and tall, and real in a way they never were from the nest. And the smell of the restaurant is enormous down here. Warm grease and fish sauce, and the thick sweetness of the exhaust vent 2 feet to your left. You don't know how long you sit there. Then the elder crow lands, 6 inches from you. No warning, no sound before impact, just there. Black and still and much larger than your mother. It does not look at the dumpster. It does not look at the alley. It looks at you. 4 full seconds. You count them without knowing you are counting. Its eye is the color of an oil slick, dark but full of other colors underneath. Then it's gone. One bead of wings and the air closes behind it like nothing opened. You think it was nothing, a passing bird, random. You are wrong. Level 3, the Scrounger. You are 4 months old. You weigh 11 ounces now. Your pin shafts are gone. Every feather is sealed and black and yours. You can fly. What you cannot do yet is eat without luck. The other crows your age still follow their parents to food. You stopped, not by choice, by distance. The elder who watched you from the dumpster lid has not come back. Your parents move in ranges you can't track yet. You are working alone, and most mornings that means half a hot dog roll from a trash can on 5th, or nothing. Then comes the walnut. You find it in the gutter on Madison, round and hard and too smooth to crack with your beak. You try for 4 minutes. You get nothing. You carry it up to the fire escape railing out of habit and look down at the crosswalk at Madison and 7th. You have watched cars before. You know what they do to things. You drop the walnut from 30 feet. It bounces off the curb and rolls. Intact. Wrong surface. You try again the next morning. This time you aim for the crosswalk itself, the white striped asphalt where the foot traffic is heaviest. The walnut hits and splits. One clean crack. You dive for it, and a man in a grey coat almost steps on your head, and you pull back up empty talent, and the light changes, and the bus rolls through the halves and grinds them flat. You sit on the light pole and watch. You watch for 6 days. On the 7th day, you know it. The walk signal at Madison and 7th gives you exactly 22 seconds. The crack happens on impact. The cars come after. The window is between them. You drop the next walnut at the peak of the white hand signal. You dive at the first flash of the orange walking figure. And you are back up on the pole with both halves before the first car clears the crosswalk. The meat is cold and dense and tastes like nothing you've eaten before. You eat it on the pole. You take your time. 3 crows your age land nearby and watch. You don't share, they don't ask. But they saw it, and you know they saw it. And that is its own kind of warmth. Winter comes in 6 weeks. Riverside Park. 1 dead oak. Roughly 200 birds, packed branch to branch in the dark, and the noise when they settle is immense. A low, constant clicking and shifting that you feel more than hear. All those bodies holding all that heat. Your perch is the outermost branch on the windward side. You don't choose it. It's just the one that's left. The inner branches are packed 3 deep with birds who arrived earlier, or who know something you don't about arrival order. And you land where there is room, which is the cold side, which is the branch the wind hits first. You sleep. You wake. The oak holds 200 birds, and 199 of them are warmer than you. You don't think about this much. You are full for the first time in weeks. You cracked the walnut. You know the 22-second window. The branch is cold, but you don't notice the cold yet. Not really. Not the way you will. Level 4. The clever one. You are 7 months old. You weigh just over 13 ounces now. Something has shifted. You know where 47 things are buried. A walnut half under the loose brick at the base of the chain link fence on West 83rd. 2 bread crusts pressed into the soil near the 3rd elm from the park entrance. A chicken bone fragment tucked behind the rusted downspout on Amsterdam Avenue, second building from the corner. You know all of them. You can pull any single one from the ground in under 90 seconds. You have tested this. You know because you have gone back in the dark, in the rain, in the wind that flattened your feathers sideways, and found the exact spot on the first pass every time. This is not luck. You built it. Piece by piece across 6 city blocks, one hidden cache at a time. The younger crows notice. 3 of them follow you to the Medicine and 7th crosswalk on a Tuesday. You drop a walnut. You know the window. You're back on the pole with both halves before the light changes. One of the 3 tries it immediately, drops a bottle cap, dives too early, and nearly loses a primary feather to a yellow cab. You watch from the pole. You do not help, but you let them watch again and again, and on the 4th drop, one of them gets it right. You feel something that isn't quite pride and isn't quite ownership, something between the two. Then comes the dumpster moment, the big green dumpster behind the restaurant on 82nd. You have circled it for weeks at a respectful distance. 2 elder crows hold that spot, each one at least 4 years old. You know this by their bearing, the thickness of their bills, the way they move without hurry, the fact that every other crow in the block gives them 12 feet of clear space without being told. On a Thursday morning, you land 4 feet closer than you ever have. One of them turns a single eye toward you, holds it, looks away. You don't move. You don't flinch. You pick up a piece of grease-soaked bread, and you eat it, and you stay. Neither elder raises a wing. Neither makes the short, sharp call that means, leave now. You eat within 10 feet of birds who could end the question of you, and they let it happen. That is the first social promotion of your life, and it is real, and it is warm, and you earned every inch of it. But at night, the map runs. You close your eyes, and the 6 blocks unspool across the inside of your skull. The brick, the elm root, the downspout, the cracked curb seam on Columbus where you tucked a pine nut into the gap. You check the list. You check it again. 47 locations arranged by block, by surface, by depth, by what might disturb the site overnight. A rat, a maintenance crew, rain loosening soil on the 83rd Street cache. You open your eyes. It is 3 a.m. The branch is quiet. Every other bird is still. You're not tired enough to stop running the map. Level 5, the lieutenant. You are 10 months old. They give you the post on a Tuesday. No ceremony, no call that means you are chosen. One of the elders simply lands beside you at first light, holds the perch for 3 seconds, and then lifts off. The green utility box at the park's north entrance is yours now. Every morning, 7 to 10 a.m., you know what that means. You've watched that post for weeks. You know exactly what it means. You land on it, and the city fits differently under your feet. The box is 4 feet off the ground and positioned at the corner where the park path meets the street. You can see 200 feet in 3 directions from up there. The angle catches the full entrance sweep, the benches, the tree line, the gap in the fence where the maintenance crew cuts through. Nothing moves into this block without crossing your line of sight first. Nothing. The first morning you call a warning. 60 birds move. You see the dog before its owner clears the gate. You give the short 2-note burst and the whole north canopy shifts, weight redistributed across 60 sets of wings in under 4 seconds. Then quiet again. Then normal. You stay on the box and you feel it happen inside your chest. That stone drop weight. That pull of gravity that isn't gravity. You called and the world responded, and you are 10 months old and you have never felt anything shaped like this. You don't move for a long time after. By the end of the first week, you have it mapped. The post teaches you things the branch never could. You watch the same humans arrive at the same times, and you start to file them. You are already carrying 14 faces. You built that catalog without trying. It accumulated the way the cache map accumulated, one entry at a time, until the list was just there, running underneath everything else. Threat level 1. The man in the grey coat who comes every morning at 7:40 and sits on the third bench. He never looks up. No threat. Threat level 2. The woman with the 2 terriers who enters at 8:15. Dogs off leash by 8:17 on average. Buffer needed. Threat level 4. The teenager in the red hoodie. Unpredictable approach speed. Has thrown things before, nothing serious. Once a bottle cap. Once a small stone that missed by 6 feet. But the pattern is erratic, and erratic costs calories. You know all 14 faster than they know each other. You watch them pass, and you see them glance at one another with no recognition. And you have had their routes memorized for days. This part feels like skill. It is skill. You are very good at it. But somewhere around the 9th morning, you notice that you have spent the full 3 hours watching the entrance, and the humans and the patterns, and at no point did you look at the sky. You look up now. It's still there, wide and pale and moving. You look back at the entrance. The woman with the terriers is 4 minutes late today. Level 6. The Enforcer. You are 11 months old. It starts with the red tail crossing into Caldwell Park at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday. It lands in the tall oak on the south edge, the one that overlooks the open grass, and it sits there like it owns the ground beneath it. It is a big bird, almost 4 pounds. It does not move. You don't wait. You give the long rally call, 4 notes, rising, and they come. 23 crows out of the trees and roof lines and wire runs inside of 90 seconds. You have never led a mob before. You don't think about that. You launch off the utility box and you go straight at it, and the 23 come with you, and the sound is enormous. The hawk lifts. You press it north. The next 11 minutes are the clearest 11 minutes of your life. You are not thinking. You are deciding. You cut left, and 12 birds mirror you. You climb hard, and 6 birds climb with you, and the hawk has to bank away from the angle or take a hit from above. It banks. You press again. You keep the mob spread across 40 feet of air so the hawk can't find a clean escape route in any direction without flying through bodies. You have never done this before, and somehow the geometry is obvious, like the cache map, like the face catalog. It's just there, running under everything, waiting for you to need it. The hawk crosses the 6-block mark. It keeps going. It clears the highway overpass and drops below your sightline and does not come back. 6 days. It will not return for 6 days. You land in the oak it abandoned. 23 birds land around you in the branches and on the fence posts and on the park path railing. The city goes quiet under you for just a moment. You feel it move through your chest, that drop, that weight, but bigger than it's ever been. This is not a utility box. This is not 60 birds shifting in a canopy. This is you, and 23 crows, and a hawk that chose to leave. You are 11 months old, and you ran something out of 6 blocks of sky. You stay in that oak for a long time. Later, when the mob has scattered back to their posts, you notice the crow on the far corner of the park's east wall, perched on the concrete lip above the maintenance door. Still, not preening, not scanning, just watching you. Old bird, at least 7 years by the weight of the posture. The left wing holds one notched primary feather, clipped ragged at the tip, not by any fight you know of, just by years. You have seen this bird at the edge of things before. The cache raid on the dumpsters near 5th. The morning the magpie pushed into the north corridor, always at the edge, always still like this. The Arbiter does not look away. You don't know what it means. You tell yourself that's fine. You look back at the oak where the hawk sat. You tell yourself that's fine. Level 7, the Arbiter. You are 12 months old. The old crow with the notched primary dies on a Tuesday in early October. No ceremony. You find the body on the concrete below the east wall at 6 a.m. Feathers still neat, like it simply stopped. By noon, the inner parliament sends the call. 5 short notes from the dead oak at Riverside Park. You know what it means. You have been listening for it without admitting it. You fly to the oak. 4 crows are already there. You take the 5th branch. The coalition is 400 birds across 2.3 square miles of city grid. The parks, the rail yard, the parking structures on the Lancy, the rooftops above the fish market on the waterfront end. All of it runs on boundary lines you now help hold. Who eats where? Who nests in which corridor? Who stays and who doesn't? The 5 of you decide this. The other 395 do not vote. The first exile comes in mid-October. A young crow from the North Rail Cluster has been cache raiding inside a protected zone, twice, with witnesses. The rules are not complicated. You assemble the full roost. You give the sentence call from the dead oak while 400 birds fill the branches and wire runs and park railings in total silence. The young crow makes a sound when it lifts, a short sound, high, something between a call and a question. Then it crosses the highway overpass and drops out of sight, same as the red-tail did, except the red-tail came back. This bird will not come back. The second exile is 3 weeks later. A mid-rank crow who pushed a nesting pair of a fire escape ledge, your fire escape ledge, the building above the street where you cracked out of a blue egg. Not that it matters. Not that you let it matter. The infraction is real. The rules are real. You give the call from the dead oak. The sound this crow makes leaving is longer, almost a full note. You do not move while it fades. The third exile is the one you still hear. An old hen from the South Park cluster, 7 years in the coalition. You know her face from 200 cache encounters. The infraction is a boundary violation during breeding season, a serious charge, an arguable one. You argue it, inside your head, alone on a utility line at 2 a.m. the night before. The other 4 are not uncertain. You give the call from the dead oak with the rest of them. She makes no sound at all. She simply opens her wings and goes west, and the silence she leaves behind is louder than the other 2 combined. You stay on the dead oak after the roost disperses. The park is empty. The city hums 40 feet below. There is a crow-shaped space in the west corridor now. You know exactly where she roosted. You know her wing beat cadence and her face angle and the particular way she held her head when she was listening hard. You know what she sounded like not making a sound. You know the oak by heart now, the bark under your feet, the exact angle of the branch. You have stood here 3 times this autumn, and each time the sky to the west has looked the same, open and gray and very long. You used to fly west just to fly. Level 8, the Watcher. You are 14 months old. A man sits on a bench at the east edge of Riverside Park 3 mornings a week. Gray jacket, Canon with a long lens. He does not throw food. He does not make sounds. He just points the camera at you, and the shutter clicks 30, 40, 50 times in a single session. You have watched him open a silver laptop on that bench and scroll through images. Your images. Your posture on the dead oak. Your flight line over the rail yard. Your face, close enough to count feathers. He has a folder on that laptop. You have seen the label from 6 feet above his shoulder. CR7. He has 340 photographs of you specifically. You know this the way you know cache locations. By observation, by count, by repetition. He is not a threat in any way you can name. That is the part that bothers you. You watch him for 11 minutes before you leave. You always watch for 11 minutes now. The younger birds move differently around you. A first year from the South Park cluster lands on a wire 15 feet away and immediately drops his posture low and still. You have not called. You have not moved. He read your spine and made the calculation before you gave any signal. This happens 4-5 times a day now. Crows you have never directly addressed defer to the angle of your shoulders. The man with the laptop would call it status. You call it useful. You file the young bird's face and roost location the same way you file everything. You have not played in 730 days. 2 full years. The barrel roll over the highway overpass, the one you used to run at dusk when the thermals came off the asphalt and you would tip sideways and let gravity pull the top of the arc into a full roll. No reason, no target, just the spinning world and the wind noise and the way your own wings surprised you. You have not done it once. You remember the mechanics of it, the entry angle, the half-second of weightlessness. You remember that it used to feel like something. You do not trust any of the 5-branch coalition without checking their cache sites first. 2 nights ago, you flew the south lot at 1 a.m. and confirmed a mid-council crow had shifted his primary cache 40 feet east, closer to the protected zone border. You logged it. You said nothing. You will watch for 3 more days before you decide what the shift means. This is what your mind does now at 1 a.m. It runs the grid. Cache locations, roost patterns, boundary drift, the micro movements of 400 birds across 2.3 square miles. You are very good at it. The gray jacket man packs his laptop. He walks west out of the park. You stay on the dead oak. The overpass is 3 blocks south. The dusk thermals are already rising off the highway, warm and wide and going nowhere in particular. You watch them from the branch. You do not go. Level 9. The Exiled Sovereign. You are 15 months old. It happens on a Tuesday. Early light. 6 a.m. The temperature sitting at 38 degrees. 60 birds rise off the inner roost in the elm corridor at once. Not in scatter, not in alarm, but in formation. Coordinated, clean. You taught that lift pattern. You designed the spacing so that no bird blocks another sightline on ascent. You know every bit of it because you built it. And now you watch it rise without you from a wire on the far side of Carver Street. The crow at the center of the formation times the crosswalk light at the intersection of Elm and 9th before he lands. 3-second gap, left lane clear, right lane 2 seconds out. Your method. You showed him that specific intersection 11 weeks ago, perched on the signal box while he watched. He ran the timing 6 times before you left. He got it right on the 5th. He does not look at you as the group settles. Not once. Not a threat display, not a warning call, not the smallest acknowledgement that you are on that wire 15 feet away. He simply does not look. The 60 birds restructure around him like water around a new stone. And in 4 minutes, the elm corridor has a different center, and you are outside it, and nothing dramatic has happened at all. That is the wound. The total, clean absence of the look. You leave. Your territory for the next 3 weeks is 2 blocks. Elm Street to Garfield. The top deck of the parking garage on Elm. Altitude 38 feet. Open sky on 3 sides. Pigeons below on level 2. No crows anywhere. You learn the entire 2-block grid in 6 hours. There is nothing in it that takes more than 6 hours to learn. You have not lived somewhere this small since you were 4 weeks old. The silence is not quiet. The city is the same. Trucks, sirens, the 8 a.m. crosswalk signal cycling every 90 seconds directly below you. But there is no flock frequency underneath it. No low contact calls at the edge of hearing. no shift in the wire vibration that means another bird has landed 40 feet east. Your mind keeps reaching for the data and finding nothing. And the nothing is not restful. It is wrong. The way a missing step in the dark is wrong. The lurch, and then the landing, and then the understanding that the floor is lower than you thought. You fly the 2-block radius on the third day for no reason. No cache check. No threat scan. Just the circuit, garage roof, the dead elm on Garfield, the signal box, back to the roof. You do it again. You are looking for the feeling that used to live in movement and you cannot locate it. You check your angle on the thermal of the garage's south face. Entry is good. The lift is there. You ride it to 60 feet and the city spreads out flat and grey below you, and there is nothing in your chest but the wind and the cold and the absence. 21 days. No other crows. You land on the top deck each night before dark. You face east. The elm corridor is 4 blocks away and invisible, and you know exactly where every bird in it is sleeping because you built the roost map, and the nap does not turn off just because you are not in it anymore. That is the cruelest part of the architecture. You cannot stop running the grid. You lie on the cold concrete top deck at 2 a.m. and your mind files the data from a parliament that is no longer yours. You are very good at this. You have never been more alone. Level 10. The Purge that remembers. You are approximately 9 years old. That is very old. That is, for a wild crow, a kind of impossibility. The sort of age that stops meaning anything except duration. You have outlasted 7 winters, 2 resurgences of the Elm Corridor Parliament, 1 complete rebuild of the block between Madison and 9th, and every crow who ever watched you work a crosswalk timing. Your branch is the top fork of the dead oak in Riverside Park. It has been dead for 4 years. The city tagged it with an orange blaze mark in the fall, which means removal. Which means nothing yet, because they tagged it in the fall 2 years before that as well. The branch is bare. It faces southwest. On clear mornings, the low sun hits it at an angle that warms the bark by roughly 4 degrees, which is not nothing at 9 years old. No younger crow lands here. Not from fear, not from a threat you issued. You have not issued a threat in 14 months. They steer wide the way they steer wide of a very old wall. Something in them knows that ancient things have already done whatever they were going to do. You come here every morning by 7 a.m. and you stay until the light shifts. You still fly to Madison and 7th. Every clear morning without deciding to. Your feet leave the oak and your wings open, and 4 minutes later you are on the signal box at the northeast corner and the crosswalk cycles below you every 82 seconds, and there are crumbs in the seam of the curb cut. And there have been crumbs in that seam every morning for 6 years, because the bakery on the corner opens at 6 and sweeps at 6:45, and the timing has never changed. You do not need the crumbs. You go because your body goes. The habit has grown so deep inside you that it no longer feels like habit. It feels like the place itself is pulling. You remember the roost in the parking garage on Elm. Altitude 38 feet, 3 open sides. You slept there alone for 21 days when you were 15 months old, and the cold concrete held your weight and nothing else. You remember the blue egg crack and the fire escape ledge 40 feet above the rain-slicked street, and the first morning wind that moved under you before you understood what wind was. You remember the gull and the gull's eye, and the exact angle of the drop that ended it. You remember the crow at the center of the Elm Corridor formation who did not look at you. Not once. You remember 31 birds you exiled. You remember 12 you lost to hawks, to glass, to January. You remember every barrel roll you chose not to take, the good clean thermal of the garage roof, the long updraft over the river on the morning you were already late to the roost count and you folded your wings and went straight instead and did not look back. The city has rebuilt twice. The bakery is new. The signal box is new. The oak is dead. You are here. A young crow, maybe 4 months old, ragged at the primary edges, still carrying the gray-brown of first-year feathers, lands 10 feet below you on a lower fork. It freezes when it sees you. It does not know what you are. It only knows you are very still and very old, and that something about the way you sit on the dead wood says the space has already been claimed by time itself. It drops off the branch after 6 seconds and does not return. You watch it go. The crosswalk cycles. The city moves. The sun reaches the southwest angle that warms the bark by 4 degrees, and you feel it, and you stay. There, on that distant wire, a fledgling preens its glossy feathers, unaware that mastery awaits, and with it, the burden of knowing every updraft as a trap, every shadow as a rival, every open sky as a chessboard. It cannot yet feel the weight of strategy crushing the lightness of youth. It does not know that dominion and innocence cannot occupy the same nest. Watch as the cycle turns. Another student alights, wings trembling, ready to begin the same ascent into the Parliament's ancient hierarchy.